Castillon Confidential by Albert Castillon.
Welcome. How are you, confidentials? Strength, honor, and let's keep the good information coming. We started August intending to take a few days off, but first the fires and then the invasion prevented us. And we understand that this is where we need to be. I wish the king understood the same, right? Or the prime minister, or so many ministers. But well, they know what they're doing. Everyone has their own way of seeing things. And individual freedom, I hope that when it's time to vote, people also remember what happened this August, because it's something unprecedented. It had never happened before in Europe that a country was invaded, that we thank the invaded country, that almost a month has passed and we still don't know how many remain on the invaded land. And that there are not even any mentions, nor is there any protest against Morocco. Nothing. Silence. Come on, as if Ceuta and Melilla were Morocco. That's how Pedro Sanchez has acted. And he must know what kind of blackmail made him do it. And the issue with the king is another matter. We understand that the crown is at stake, and we don't understand why. It's very simple. We understand that he can do whatever he wants because of the Constitution, but going from that to putting on a swimsuit and going sailing is a huge leap. Let me tell you why the government of Morocco pushes its own people to go work in Spain and the rest of Europe. Because this is part of a plan. Look, Morocco is not a democracy, even if it appears to be. It's true, there are parties that run, elections are held, and people from all ideologies participate. But it's a country with hundreds of political prisoners. Anyone who truly calls for a revolutionary uprising, like what happened in other Arab countries, or says that a change of government is needed, is immediately imprisoned. It's the same with the press. Any journalist who criticizes any state institution is imprisoned. Well, criticizing the King of Morocco is punishable by up to 5 years in prison. I won't say more. And the way Mohammed VI governs is absolutely feudal and medieval. That's why many call him the Sultan, not the king, the Sultan of Morocco, because he acts as if he were a sultan from the Middle Ages. All the state industry in Morocco doesn't belong to the state. It's not the Moroccans, it's his and his family's. Through the Almada Holding Company. That's where all the companies tied to China are, along with banks. Financial entities, gas, mining, telecommunications, food, everything belongs to the King of Morocco. And don't forget that Morocco is the main producer and exporter of cannabis in the world. And if everything belongs to the family, well, you know what I mean. However, there is one factor that sets Morocco apart from the rest of the countries near Europe or in the Maghreb region, and that is its absolute interest in exporting Moroccans. Sorry, because they're the ones treating them as bargaining chips, just like any other object. It's the Moroccan government that doesn't care if 150 die and drown in front of Ceuta in exchange for placing 15,000 in Ceuta. The one who treats Moroccans like inanimate objects is the government of Morocco and its king. It seems they don't care about their people. And they export Moroccans to get foreign currency. Some export technology. Agriculture, gentlemen. The big business of Morocco is its citizens. All over Europe, there are today 4 million Moroccans in different countries. That is 10% of the Moroccan population. that 10% is essential for the economy of Morocco.
Look, a worker who is in Morocco doing any kind of job will be earning an average of €8 a day.
And not for 8 hours, but for 12 or 14 hours, €8 a day. How can a family get by like that? How do you pay for food, rent, gas, the car? Well, with money from those abroad. They managed to get Moroccans living outside Morocco to send remittances to the country totaling $12 billion a year. With those 12 billion, many millions of relatives in Morocco survive who without it wouldn't even have anything to eat.
It's a way to get the rest of the countries in the world, especially in Europe.
Support your population while you and your family get rich with your country's businesses. Those 12 billion a year are 8% of Morocco's GDP, the gross domestic product.
Therefore, the Moroccan state's dependence on Moroccan emigration is enormous.
They will always be opening borders. They will always send their people as far away as possible so that they send foreign currency back to the country and keep the central bank of Morocco always in the green. Yes, my friend.
It's very profitable for them to export their population while they keep the businesses inside the country. And if on top of that,
with blackmail, bribes, or threats, they get a lot of favors from the European Union and from Sanchez, who does whatever they want. Well, what can I say? It's a perfect deal for them. Since Sanchez has been in office, he has lent, given, or invested 4,200,000,000 euros in Morocco. And they've achieved something else with the invasion of Ceuta. They put Ceuta and Melilla on the map, but in the worst way possible.
Those who don't know the history of the two cities, which is most people, will look at the map and think, of course, they're Spanish colonies. That's Morocco. What is Ceuta and Melilla doing in the middle of Morocco? Well, that's the opinion that the uninformed people around the world, and there are many, have after hearing about the invasion.
Therefore, in addition, they even handle propaganda better than the Spanish government. We are in the hands of a country with a medieval regime that uses its population as bargaining chips and a source of income. And that lives off all kinds of family businesses, even illegal ones.
How can we fight from Spain or from Europe against a country like that?
It's difficult. It's complicated. We'll try to do that today, as we do every day, with your help. And by the way, we have the latest update on the health of our dear contributor, Alfredo Perdiguero, the police inspector who had a motorcycle accident. We'll tell you about it in a few minutes. Welcome. We investigate.
Yes. Castillón Confidencial, de Albert Castillón.
Friends, with the invasion in Ceuta, there's a lot of interest in diverting attention, in making sure it's not talked about, in saying that everything is normal. It's not true, it's not real, and as long as it isn't, all the free media left in this country will keep reporting it. The data was provided by El Español. 200 reports a day. 200 a day for different crimes, mostly thefts or attempted robberies. The numbers are 10 times higher than the usual reports in the autonomous city of Ceuta before the invasion.
The latest we've heard is about the beating a civil guard officer received when someone tried to rob him at a gas station in the early morning.
And luckily, the civil guard officer lived to tell the tale.
There were 5 immigrants who were beating him, and the national police have arrested most of them. the spokesperson for that police union, Jupol, Laura Garcia. How are you, dear?
Good morning, dear Albert.
200 a day. This is brutal. What are most of the complaints about?
Well, it's brutal. Those numbers logically have nothing to do with what Ceuta was like before this invasion. Well, there are many, as you know. The ones that hurt us the most are the sexual assaults, many of which are being committed against minors. There are many violent robberies, there are many property crimes, many crimes against property, and many mass brawls among them, which in the end, well, we respond to many of them. And on top of that, we are met with stones thrown at us when all we want to do is basically prevent them from killing each other.
Is that civil guard officer who was surrounded and they tried to rob, okay?
Yes, the colleague is fine. He was walking, but the thing is, walking in Ceuta at certain times and alone, even being, imagine a civil guard officer, right? Well, it's very dangerous. Imagine how it is for the rest of the people from Ceuta who probably don't even know how to defend themselves. And what happened is that they started asking him for money. They started asking him for money, harassing him, trying to confuse him a bit. And as soon as the colleague refused, that's when they attacked him. And of course, in the end, because they outnumbered him, they managed to assault him. And well, it was the colleagues from the civil guard who finally managed to identify these people. Not all of them, but well, it's something.
Well, it's something. Hey, clarify this for me. Are there rapes? How many are there? And are there rapes of women from Ceuta, not just immigrants?
Well, look, confirmed cases that have reached the court, there are 16 sexual assaults. Isn't this situation? I just know. She saw it stage in like, NATO. In fact, while I was there at the Ceuta police headquarters, a sub-Saharan girl, a young woman, a teenager, came in to report that she had been sexually assaulted. The protocol was started, of course. But anyway, before, there used to be one sexual assault a month, and in some months, two. And now we're talking about, in just over 3 weeks, mind you, there are 16 confirmed cases. And the ones that aren't reported, because of course, normally many sexual assaults in Spain aren't reported. Imagine what we can expect from a child of 10, 12, or 14 years old who has been sexually assaulted, who doesn't know what to do, who doesn't speak our language, who comes from another culture, who only feels fear, and in the end, they hide in the mountains. And how many sexual assaults must there be that haven't been reported?
And let's talk about what nobody talks about. There are assaults on underage boys, sexual assaults as well.
Yes, well, sources at the hospital have told me about 4 boys, 4 minors as well. In fact, one of the attackers of those minors, of one of them, has indeed been arrested. The rest, as far as I know, not yet. But like I said, this often happens in the area around the woods where there are a lot of illegal settlements. They catch them sleeping and they can't identify the perpetrator. So without identifying the perpetrator, well, it's not counted either, so to speak. But at least one of those who sexually assaulted those minors has been arrested.
We're talking about assaults so violent that one of those children has been hospitalized, right? Yes.
Yes. Some of those boys and some of the girls, it's hard to say this. My stomach turns every time I have to talk about this. But anyway, one of the girls, what sources from there, from the hospital, told me is that they had never seen the girl was torn apart, destroyed, and that they had never seen such brutality in their entire professional careers. We can get an idea of this atrocity, because this is an atrocity.
We are trying to explain the real situation with the help of Jupol. We've all heard about an attempted rape of a 10-year-old girl. Was this real or not?
Yes, that happened on Avenida Lisboa, thanks to the cooperation of the community. And because the neighbors called, since it was a sexual assault on a 10-year-old girl and it was a group assault too. The civil guard officers, specifically from the GRS, arrived quickly and they were able to arrest one of the perpetrators.
The girl, as I was saying, at that time was missing as well. She also ran away from the scene, because what can you expect from a 10-year-old child who is going through such a traumatic situation? In the end, she hides, and she doesn't want to know anything about it.
But it's also because they don't know how things work in our country and that they can get help, that a translator can be provided for them when they go to the police station to help them with everything. They don't know about any of these procedures.
Laura, this is terrible. It's Spain, but it seems like the worst of an African country. There is no control. The minors aren't protected, not even by a fence, a tent, their own space. There's no way to protect those boys and girls.
If they wanted to, yes, of course. There has to be the will to protect those children. What I've seen there, no one has to tell me about it because I've been walking around almost 18 hours a day in the city of Ceuta to see what was happening from early in the morning until late at night. And I saw children, very little children, alone, disoriented. Well, you give them the water you had, if you had some dried fruit, whatever you had, right? Because you really felt sorry for them because, hey, they're just little kids. And, there's all kinds of situations, right? Right? I'm not going to give my water to sexual offenders or criminals, but come on, to a little 8-year-old child that you see lying there in the street, well, what fault could they possibly have? As for protecting them, some neighborhood associations in those areas are sheltering them in certain places. I saw something there that really caught my attention. It was a settlement made by girls, teenagers, and women. But mind you, the settlement was right next to the UIP vans, the riot police. And I talked to those girls, some of whom spoke English, and they told me they were next to the police. Because as soon as they moved away from there, they were assaulted. They were sexually assaulted. And I confirmed this. I confirmed it with my colleagues. And, well, right around the CTT, which is where that settlement was, in that whole mountainous area, there are a lot of illegal settlements. They dragged them there and raped them.
Between what you're telling me, Laura, which we already knew, but now we're confirming with you, and what animal rights groups are telling me, for example, there were 65 cat colonies there, and now there's not a single one left. There isn't a single animal there on the street. What has come into Ceuta, my God? What kind of human beings are there? In numbers of 15 or 12 or 14,000 wandering the streets. What?
Well, look, as a cat mom, as we usually say, and an animal lover, well, a lover of all animals. Well, this really caught my attention, and I have talked to some friends who are veterinarians about this topic. It's true that cats are very protective of their territory, right? Once they take it over. And it's true that animals have also been invaded. Of course, their places have been taken over. And let's hope that they have escaped to a quieter place, that they have found somewhere else. But, well, if it were really confirmed that they are also, stabbing cats, as I saw a veterinarian say somewhere, she had actually received a cat like that. She said, it's very serious. Thank you.
We are dealing with the worst of the worst. Laura, by the way, I know he's not from Jupol, but he cares about you all a lot, and you care about him too. I'm talking about Alfredo Perdiguero, that incident when he was run over, leaving a media outlet. Broken vertebrae, broken ribs. What do you know about his health condition, please?
Yes, I do. I ask every day to the people who can actually talk to his closest circle, because obviously I can't talk to them myself. What they say is that he's in a lot of pain, and what worries them the most is the vertebra. They were running tests on him, and they are still running tests. Let's hope that finally, after everything that has happened, and, it's serious because he went straight to the ICU, that he will eventually be able to recover. He's a strong guy, and, we hope, let's hope he recovers, really.
The thing with the vertebrae is worrying because that determines future mobility. It has to be done right. In the end, it was a car that ran a traffic light or a stop sign. What do you know?
We don't know. We know that he was riding his motorcycle after the night shift, and sorry, the cat is about to knock over my phone that I have here. Leave him. Thank you. I see that he's about to knock over the phone. He's starting to play. He thinks I'm talking to him or something, and that's it. He was hit. He was run over by a vehicle, and we don't know anything else. It's true that I've been checking the emergency services posts, who usually post about these kinds of accidents, but No, I haven't found anything. There isn't any official information, so to speak, about this.
What does that mean, you being a police officer, that the vehicle fled the scene, that there's no report?
It's possible that they fled the scene. It's just that the official information doesn't mention anything at all, actually. This became known because his own sister posted on Alfredo Perdiguero's account that the accident had happened and about the ribs and vertebrae, but we don't know anything else.
Well, keep us informed because you probably read, just like I have, all kinds of speculation. Yes, yes.
With everything that's going on, I can believe anything. And if someone did it on purpose, let the full weight of the law fall on them.
Look, the last conversation I had with him in person, when we ran into each other at a place, he told me, Laura, he said, they're after me. He said, the word he used was, he said, I'm terrified. He said, because, I have the feeling that they're coming after me. But anyway, let's not speculate. Because speculating about it doesn't get us anywhere, absolutely nothing.
Let's wait for official information that's trustworthy.
But anyway, that's what he told me. Come on, it's the truth, as clear as day.
And no. And every time he went on a show or went out with Iker or with me, he would say, here comes another suspension without pay. He was already fed up.
Well, what times we've had to live through, Laura. Let's keep defending this country. It's incredible that you and I, who are just regular citizens, and the security forces have to say this and not the ones who are actually running the country. You still have the same feeling that they don't want to do anything, right?
Nothing, no, there is absolutely no movement. In fact, the news is that Ceuta, so many days later, is still the same. That's what's newsworthy to me and what stands out the most. Today I saw an interview with a judge crying out for help. You see doctors also crying out for help, firefighters, police officers, but what kind of country is this, right? That we have to be demanding resources in order to help the citizens. This is unbelievable.
Laura, big hug and thank you for not taking August off and for being there for your people. A hug.
Of course, a big hug.
And speaking of Alfredo Perdiguero, our colleague who was in that accident, thank you for the many kind messages we've received asking about him.
Thank you, Antonio, MJ, or Moises from Chile.
I wanted to send my sincerest support to Alfredo Perdiguero after the, let's say, accident he suffered a few days ago. Let's hope that the broken rib and the fractured vertebra don't leave any lasting effects. And that it is confirmed, despite the seriousness, that it was an accident, since there are already some voices suggesting that there may have been some bad intentions toward him.
That Alfredo Perdiguero, the one you interview and who often goes to your show, has had an accident. And it's to tell you to let him know that we support him, that he has all our support. From all the insiders, I'm speaking for all the insiders, and please keep us informed.
Well, for Alfredo Perdiguero, just hang in there, get well soon, and keep fighting the battle when it comes to reporting all the irregularities he sees as a police officer.
Thank you very much, friends. There are many more messages. I'll send them to Perdiguero's family. I've spoken with Iker Jimenez, and he told me that they wanted to get him into a chair in the next few hours. And there has been a new message from his sister on social media in which she says that today they are going to do an MRI on his lower back.
Some nerves are affected. They need to give him an epidural, that type of anesthesia, to operate on what worries them the most, which are 4 broken vertebrae. She also says that it's not 7 anymore, but 9 ribs that have been broken. I mean, the impact was brutal, and he has all kinds of pain medication to avoid the pain. She mentions morphine, tramadol, Nolotil, fentanyl, everything.
And if everything goes well, as I said, and they give him the epidural, and if the MRI gives the go-ahead, then they'll try to operate on those fractures. What worries them the most are the vertebrae, the ribs. Sooner or later, they're going to heal,
but those vertebrae, as we were just saying with Laura, shouldn't affect his mobility. We will keep you updated every day on his health condition, and we hope that someone will shed light on the causes of the accident. Because the police report is nowhere to be found. And the question Laura and I ask again, did the person who ran over Alfredo Perdiguero flee the scene? Is there any connection to the world he criticizes in the media? We just heard the spokesperson for UPOL say that he told her he was scared, literally, that he was terrified, that they were coming after him. When Perdiguero says that, it's not just another sanction from the Ministry of the Interior, it's not just another disciplinary file, it must be something more serious. Are those threats he was receiving related to him being run over? That question, my friends, needs an answer. And soon, I hope I can give it to you from here. 1 minute, and we'll continue.
Castillón Confidencial, de Albert Castillón.
It's not waiting for you at the House of Sparkling Water, Vichy Catalan.
Something has happened that I consider extremely serious. They censored in La Vanguardia an article by a lawyer and notary who was vice president of the La Caixa Foundation, professor of civil law at the Autonomous University, and they removed his article and fired him. Of course, the question is, what did the article say, right? It was called La Revancha. Look, in that article, this man who is very nationalistic, whose ideas, by the way, don't match mine. But on this point, yes, he was talking about the clash that Pedro Sanchez is causing between the two Spains, the Spains of the Civil War, right? And he says, verbatim, the clash will begin soon, at the latest in a year. And this civil conflict will perhaps coincide with the outbreak of the simmering and worsening crisis in Ceuta and Melilla. At another point, he says, the goal pursued by this revenge, initiated from power by President Rodriguez Zapatero and further intensified without limits by Sanchez, is to put an end to the second monarchical restoration, that of King Juan Carlos. He later says that the goal is to restore the Third Republic and put an end to Spain as a nation. La Vanguardia has censored this. Why? Because it receives millions and millions from the Sanchez government. Look, La Vanguardia is the only newspaper in Spain that has remained under the same owner from before Franco until today. The Godó family, Count Godó. When Franco was in power, it was the most pro-Franco newspaper of the time. Franco appeared on the front page every day. When democracy arrived, Juan Carlos I was on the front page every day. The money, the cash was in the independence movement. It was the most pro-independence. In fact, now it's a nationalist, pro-independence newspaper, and its radio station, RACU, is pure Catalan nationalism. And now that Sanchez is feeding him, well, he'll give in first. The Count of Godó has shown in the more than 100 years that La Vanguardia has existed what a journalist should never do, sell out to those in power, which is what he has done his whole life. It is possibly the newspaper that brings the most shame to the profession. And I'm sorry to say it because I was once a columnist for La Vanguardia myself. Well, the article by Juan José López Borniol, by the way, you already have it in full since La Vanguardia has censored it on our website, digitalcastillonconfidential.com. There it is in full. You can see it whenever you want and read it carefully. Well, scenes that will keep you up at night.
There's a young Maghrebi man in Ceuta counting a wad of 50 euro bills. Can someone explain this to me? We've slowed down the moment when a camera by chance is recording and sees him there almost squatting. Counting 50, 100, 500, I don't know how much there could be there in that wad of bills. These are the underprivileged people who take the bag of food from the Red Cross. And speaking of food, Lydia sent me a video of Muslim women that she received, and it's real, it's not staged. They are throwing the food they collect from associations and NGOs into the dumpster. This
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. These are the kinds of help they give us. This is the help, you know? We're giving help. And they're throwing it in the trash, folks. This is Amaria. Amaria. This is the help. This is what we have. We have what we deserve.
Congratulations. Well done to the man who recorded it. Congratulations. Because these actions, if you don't record them, nobody believes it. Look how easy it is to share among people. If there's something you can't eat or don't like, share it with other people. Throw it in the bin. That's the worst thing you can do, right? No, I don't get it. They should take away all kinds of aid from those women and identify them, even though they had their faces covered. All right, let's pack up. Pakistan, if you want to hold a demonstration, a Catholic procession, it's prohibited by law. No Catholic can take the Virgin Mary out in Pakistan or here. It's the Pakistanis who take to the streets here. Palma de Mallorca, the Tongo Lem area. Many children, it was a celebration. They were celebrating the birth of Muhammad. Here, we let them do it. What they would forbid us to do in their country. Each to their own. I just put it out there and let people reflect on it. Well, Alexander sent me something very hopeful. At Mercadona, they're changing the origin of the products. Listen.
I went to Mercadona. I bought green beans from Spain. Last week, I already noticed that the green beans were from Spain. And today, also, I went to check the blueberries, which, as far as I remember, used to come from Morocco, and now it said origin Peru. I think Juan Roche is a patriot.
I'm sure he is, and it's good that he's stepping up. Just like it's good, all of us who have recorded, I was one of them filming products and saying, hey, why do we have to buy from the enemy that's invading us? No, it's just common sense. Since the government doesn't impose tariffs on them, let's put pressure on them ourselves by not buying their product. Remember that on September 2nd, demonstrations will continue in major cities across Spain at 8 in the evening. If anyone wants to organize one in Leon, call us. I have people waiting. And Geraldine is in Lugo. Listen.
Good morning. Look, I'm from here, from Lugo. Here, nobody does anything. And I called the people from the PP to see if they were going to do something just to annoy them, because I knew they weren't going to do anything. And then the only thing I said to them, because when he told me no, I said, and you are the ones who want our votes. Very well. Thank you very much. So if you could put me in touch with someone, with some insider from Lugo, I would appreciate it.
Thank you very much, dear Geraldine. I hope someone from Lugo tells us, hey, I want to go too, and we organize a rally, since the PP doesn't get it. You're right. In many places in Spain, the PP doesn't get it. You just saw it. That's incredible. Well, more. Ignacio has given a perfect account of what's happening in Ceuta. Listen.
Ceuta was stormed on July 30th and 31st, 2026. They sent more than 80,000 to storm it. For Ceuta, it was as if it was erased from the map of Spain. Everyday life collapsed, as did the healthcare system, the administration, and security. Soon, most of them were made to return the way they came. But thousands of them didn't want to leave. Now they're wandering around, barely surviving out in the open, without sanitation, with a refugee camp on the horizon as a place to sleep. and so Ceuta is falling apart between urine and feces. They fill the environment with contagious diseases, known for their voracity. The doctors of Ceuta are reporting this and more, but the situation still isn't improving. And the people of Ceuta, alone in the face of danger, watch as coexistence in their city is destroyed. But the government, on summer vacation, proclaims everything is under control and there's nothing more to discuss. That's how the days go by. Coexistence in Ceuta is falling apart. The people of Ceuta cry out in the wilderness. They urgently need national emergency assistance. But it is denied to them. Because it's not such a big deal, they shouldn't complain anymore. And the king? Oh, the king is not expected. He can't be expected. Because they won't let him come. And that's it. What a shame for this country.
One of its territories is being left to die. Or worse, maybe they want to kill it.
Magnificent historical account of what we're living through, Ignacio. Don't forget that this is part of a plan. It's been almost a month, and they haven't even counted how many there are. Neither the minors nor the adults. There's no interest. Why? Because they're expecting more to arrive, many more, and some people from Ceuta have already left. Yesterday we told you that housing prices have dropped. There are businesses that, if this continues like this in October, won't be able to stay open anymore. That's the plan. To pit Spaniards against Moroccans or sub-Saharan Africans, it doesn't matter. They're invaders. And for those who were born there to end up leaving so that later they hand over that co-sovereignty, right? Saying that they've pacified the place. It's a very crude plan, but a plan nonetheless. Look, with everything that's going on, Spain has just increased its purchase of olive oil from Morocco. That's right, we're the world's largest producer. Well, we've multiplied it by Ninwanai. The data comes from the Ministry of Economy. The purchase of olive oil from Morocco is up by 9,000%. Here we uproot olive trees. In Morocco, they plant them, and then we buy the oil from them here. No, we're not fools. It's part of a plan in which some will get rich, them, their children, and their grandchildren. About Sanchez, one of them, Meiba, Alejandran, Maria, and Topacio from Germany.
If a prime minister or a minister is blackmailed, the modus operandi is always the same. It's because someone has information that can prove you've committed an illegal act or some immorality. If it's because you've committed an illegal act, you're a criminal and therefore you can't be the prime minister. If your illegal act leads to you being blackmailed, you can't be the prime minister.
It seems strange to me that they only paint graffiti on the wall near La Mareta, and not all the walls and roads in Spain are covered with graffiti about the corruption of this government. And then they haven't hired 200 advisors, they've hired another 200 traitors. Now there are 1,600 traitors.
Sanchez is there because he was chosen, not because we Spaniards want to vote for him to be there. Soros, the Brussels elite, and many more. And he's doing the work of destroying Spain because he doesn't feel anything. He only talks a lot about it if something happens to someone in his family. He doesn't care about anything else, not even his ministers or anything. He has chosen people who have no morals and who are also criminals.
I just wanted to say that it's unbelievable that so many politicians who are getting paid by all Spaniards, so many of them, there isn't even one who has the guts to step up and defend Spain. They're all defending everything except our beautiful country.
A kiss, Topacio from Germany, and may that kiss reach you. There are patriots all over the world. Look, the government is in disarray. Yes, they'll hold on. If we prevent electoral fraud, less so, but they want to stay in power forever. For example, there's an exodus of high-ranking officials. There are 140 high-ranking official civil servants who were somewhere, and now they've been pushed to the sideline. In the government sphere to earn more, 140 of them have returned to their previous positions. In other words, they've left their privileged posts. Why? Because they sense trouble? Because they know this is coming to an end? For example, there's an investigation by the European Union that nobody talks about. The other day, El Español was reporting on it, and I think it's very important. Look,
This woman you see, YouTube friends, her name is Erenia Trillo. This woman is wonderful. She's an art dealer and works with this man you're seeing now, Noel Jamal. Noel Jamal, during the pandemic years of 2020 and 2021, received 24 million euros of public money for medical supplies. From whom? From Angel Victor Torres, who was then the president of the Canary Islands and is now a minister. Well, then the lady Trillo stated before the European Public Prosecutor's Office that she saw Angel Victor Torres pick up a backpack full of bundles of cash. She was in the building, and she also gives all the details on Corondele Avenue in Madrid, a multi-story building. She went downstairs to go to the bathroom, walked past the office, and saw how this Noel Jamal handed the backpack to Angel Victor Torres, and you could see the bundles of cash in that office. She told the European Public Prosecutor's Office what happened. She saw it, they haven't. Angel Victor Torres received the backpack from Jamal. She saw it, right? Se investiga por parte de la Fiscalía Europea. ¿Qué hay que traer? ¿Un vídeo? ¿Una foto? Is the presumption of innocence of one of Sanchez's ministers worth more than a witness's statement? Or is the European Public Prosecutor's Office also involved? Are they like Candido with the Pum Pumpido? Are they on the same side? We share this to push forward, and so that one day we can know the truth about what's happening. I keep getting messages about the king, the latest ones from Carlos and Roberto.
I mean, the bum we have as king is in on it. They're waiting for him to do something. He's out sailing. Why is he out sailing? Because everything is already signed. Everything is signed. Ceuta and Melilla are being handed over, just like the Sahara was handed over with his father, so that the Americans would support him to become king. He handed over the Sahara. Everything is signed. Let's not expect him to do anything. We can't do anything anymore. Now all we can do is go out into the streets and protest. This is being handed over little by little, and the Canary Islands will be next.
Well, since our king likes sailing so much, he could go to the protest that Marcos de Quinto is organizing with his little boat, with his sailboat. Let's see if that way we can see that he can actually sail.
Let's see if Marcos de Quinto is around here tomorrow and we can tell him more. The statements by Abdelatif Oubi, who is the Minister of Justice of Morocco, have gone viral because here they keep congratulating Morocco for its cooperation, right? Meanwhile, they keep saying that Ceuta and Melilla belong to them. Listen.
I'm telling you, young man, that I travel around Morocco, and it's my constitutional right to travel around Morocco. There are those who told us I want to enter Ceuta because Ceuta is Moroccan.
How am I going to stop them?
As for the issue of Ceuta and Melilla, it will continue to be a subject of dialogue between us and Spain. We will hold on to our historical right and our geographical right, and the channels for dialogue will remain open on this issue. And I believe that there needs to be a forum or body for dialogue on this issue, because we cannot remain silent about this matter, neither for the benefit of the future nor for the benefit of the present. It must be discussed to find it. There must be a definitive solution that puts an end to this situation. The situation of Ceuta and Melilla must return to the motherland.
What does it mean that the situation of Ceuta and Melilla must return to the bosom of the homeland? It has never been Moroccan. Never in life, not even during Roman times, nor much earlier. How can people make these things up? Well, since we're talking about the enemy's invasion attempts, which is Morocco, we've achieved a victory, and it needs to be said. I want you to see this cross. It's the cross of the fallen in Cáceres. The Extremadura regional government, now that Vox is in power, has changed. They've put an end to attempts under the historical memory law to get rid of it. They've declared it a site of cultural interest, and now they won't destroy this cross. Well, what's going on here with the cross of the fallen? Because if the Extremadura regional government did it, which is the PP with Vox, then why doesn't Ayuso do it, right? to declare the largest cross in the history of Christianity, which is the cross of the fallen, as a cultural asset. What harm does that do? On the other hand, destroying, bombing, demolishing, that's the tactic they've liked the most so far.
91 91 915 930 491. Completely trustworthy.
And in the newsroom, they tell me there are a lot of messages. You can tell August is over and people have come back home, even the confidential ones. That's right, Susanna. Hello. Hello.
Yes, Albert. Greetings to everyone, to our regulars who keep writing to us. They never miss our newsroom meetup and send us very interesting messages and opinions, and they're all around the world. That's the case with Jackie. She even says she's asking us for help. She says that Pedro Sanchez is managing to make us monarchists feel ashamed of the king, that he should do something now. If a referendum chooses the republic with a simple decree, the position of head of state will become a lifetime appointment, and that position would go to Pedro Sanchez, that he will grant himself all the powers and consolidate that dictatorship they already have through decrees. And I am asking for help. God bless us for your courage and your kindness, but at least let it serve some purpose. Antonio also says that the beaches and all of Ceuta should be cleaned by the migrants. And he reminds us that if you throw a piece of paper on the street or on the beach, you'll probably have to pay a big fine. Why do we have to pay for the mess? From the migrants, why do we have to use our taxes to, above all, maintain the beach when they are the ones who made it dirty? It's not fair. Maribel says that the king has a very important opportunity, and she tells us and reminds us, like you said, that on Saturday there are boats to Ceuta. Doesn't he like sailing so much? Why doesn't he go with them? Our friend Josefina also writes to us and says, listening to the first part of the program, I realized why the Pope came. In Spain, everything is about money. Everything is based on that. Antonio says, how many billions have been given away by Pedro Sanchez to the corruption of NGOs, Morocco with the business of unaccompanied minors, the Red Cross? It's all money for them. I didn't know we had so much money in Spain to give away abroad. And the last one, in Eurored, says that the European Union is a true supranational government, tyrannical and absolutely authoritarian. This is incredible. Where are we going to end up? We're going to leave it here for now. But it is important that we invite all our followers to check out our channels and also to subscribe to our digital newspaper, Castion Confidencial, because we always say the same thing, and it's very interesting. We need to be well informed. Thank you, Albert.
Thank you, Susanna. And I want you to see this woman. Her name is Jiwa. She's an Iranian singer. Bisoto! Bisoto! And during the third song, the Iranian police came up on stage and took everyone away, including the musicians. Why? Because there were men among the people attending the concert, and that's forbidden by Iranian law, by Islamic law. It's wild and crazy that at a concert there are women singing and men in the audience. She has been sentenced to 4 years in prison. There's another singer who recently posted a song without a veil on social media, and she was given 75 lashes. Where are the women's rights organizations here to raise their voices? Well, Sofia from Italy, thank you for your kindness, my friend.
Well, Mr. Albert, good morning, and thank you for always being there to inform us about what those who have sold out to the dictatorial and anti-democratic Sanchez regime keep quiet about. And the worst part is not that they keep quiet. It's that they also lie to us. I remember when on the show we used to say, let's see if we can reach 5,000 subscribers. And now, well, let's go for 500,000.
Not much time has passed since then. It's so good to have you there for so many months and years. We're in the 4th year of the show and aiming to reach 500,000, which is our goal. Without you, it would be impossible. Well, there's a man named Juan Jesus Vivas, the president of Ceuta. He looks like a good person, and I don't doubt that he is, but in my opinion, he made a mistake choosing his partners.
In the government, although we should also consider who represented each party. I mean, sometimes the representative of the party you'd like to make a deal with is so bad that you have to make a deal with the enemy. I don't know if that was the case, but Marucci sent me this video made with artificial intelligence that kind of sets things straight. Listen.
Mr. Vivas, who is responsible for this invasion? The PSOE. Who does the PP make deals with in Ceuta? With the PSOE. Are you going to keep ignoring Vox and its proposals? We are with the PSOE.
No further questions.
And that's how it is. And that's how it is. The PSOE and an Islamic group with a Muslim woman at the head. Well, Fräulein Freud Lannister, Conchita smiled. Get ready, because Sanchez comes out in a swimsuit and his dear brother playing the piano. The worst. And don't miss Bolaños in a burqa, please.
Burcadelo, go make a video call like that, dressed up to some minister from our Moroccan partners and friends. They love it.
Yes, little diplomat. I'm going now. My goodness, it's so hot. I feel like a folded umbrella.
Pedro, do you want me to play you a symphony I just composed about the progressive burqa? Well, David, better save it for later, like in 3 or 4 years or so. Okay? Wow, look at this. The phone is ringing, and Burcadelo isn't here to answer. He's so useless. I have to do everything myself. Hello, Marquez de Sauna speaking.
Hi, Pedro. Look, I was just calling to tell you that I'm with Begoña.
Pachi, damn it, Pachi, you again. Besides being an idiot, you're annoying as hell.
Well, Pedro, since I was here, I was wondering if you'd be okay with me, coming to see you at La Mareta and spending a few days there designing political strategies, you and me side by side,
You and me together, working hand in hand and talking for hours, there's nothing I'd look forward to more than that. Potato face. Especially considering your questionable patchouli body odor. When are you coming?
Really? Are you serious, Pedro? Well, if you want, I can come this afternoon.
No!
And with string. Evil. Pachi.
Hey, Pedro, are you there? Did it get cut off?
He deserves it. Pachi gets what he deserves, ignored even by his own people. Well, Marina sends me a very interesting message that I really liked, and she says, gentlemen, it's the first time in life and in history that the rulers of an invaded country seem more concerned about the well-being of the invaders than about the well-being of the invaded citizen. Exactly. Nothing more, nothing less. Another message from Sofia. I'm looking for a job, even if it's in the government. I don't know how to steal, but I can learn. And Jose from the Red Cross says the Red Cross is becoming less and less of a cross and more red. Well, one more. I loved it. Enrique sent it, and it's really good. They're ministers, high-ranking officials who were close to Sanchez, close friends. And now he doesn't even want to see them. It starts with Maria Jesus Montero.
Oh, my Pedro!
What could my Pedro be doing? Does he remember me?
Santos Sardan.
I'm sure I'll be here for a short time. Pedro will help me.
Sure, yeah.
I'm sure he remembers me.
Pedro, will you remember me?
Will you pardon me someday?
Do you think Pedro remembers us, man? Of course. You'll see. In 2 days, we'll be out on the street.
Paco Salazar. Everything reminds me of my popcorn.
I hope they remember me.
Hey, Pedro. What do you know about your ministers? Shut up, Calijas. You're killing my vibe. And if they want help, they should ask for it.
Calejan Begoña dancing salsa with Sanchez at La Mareta, ignoring those who used to be his right-hand men and whom he has now betrayed. Well, how could you not betray people if you're Pedro Sanchez? It's in his DNA. Well, I really like what Candelaria sent me. You know, those little papers they put on lampposts to look for work, to sell something, and you tear off a little piece of the paper. They say urgent. We need Blas de Lezo type blood for all Spaniards. And there you take out and give a little bit of Blas de Lezo's blood, because honestly, the weak blood most of us have is useless. And to finish today, Froy Lannister sends it with style, and it's spectacular.
The right says that since I became your beloved and supreme leader, everything is going wrong. I'm a despot, and that everything is going downhill. Woo! Wait! Woo!
Out!
Calm down. We all know the truth. And the truth is, since I have been in charge, this country is taking off like a rocket and everything is going up, damn it. For example, the CPI is going up, housing prices are going up, crime is going up, more families can't make it to the end of the month, taxes are going up, my vacation days in the suitcase are going up, subsidies are going up, and illegal immigration is going up.
And we're going up in every damn corruption ranking?
Handsome!
President!
Down with fascism!
And even cases of scabies in Ceuta and rapes are increasing.
Excuse me, young hothead. You're reading from the sheet that listed everything you weren't supposed to mention.
Well, anyway, Mortadero, don't worry. Look, they applaud just the same.
I'm going to faint from how handsome he is. What are you doing, Hermina? He's so handsome.
Mon tomorrow, friends. I'll be waiting for you here in the trench to tell you what others don't. See you tomorrow.
All confidential. But shh, only for open minds and for people who are awake. From the trench, the bullets whistle and there's no way out. To get out there, hear freedom as wings of wax. Albert Castellon, Susana Gatka, your girl, myself, and the rest. Thank you very much. Dadalidu, but dadalidu with a bow and cake. See you tomorrow at. Thank you.
Castillon Confidential by Albert Castillon.